I'm Antonio Zanalato.
And I am your co-host, Jacob Saldana.
And I'm here to serve men who are seeking more out of their life and themselves, men who are ready to dive deeper and do the work. In this podcast, we will help increase your curiosity in order to live more of an examined life,
to live with integrity for yourself and others,
and to accept the things in life that you can control. Our goal is to help you bring out the warrior within you. Welcome to the Warrior Lab.
Welcome to episode 1 of the Warrior Lab podcast. Jacob Saldana here and Antonio Zanalato.
What up, guys?
We are bringing a little conversation that Antonio and myself, along with a couple other guys, have been having for over 2 years now. And that's sharing a little bit of vulnerability, sharing some life lessons, sharing the challenges that we're facing as men that kind of have high expectations of ourselves. Honestly, like we're entrepreneurs, we're in relationships, we're trying to hone in these different areas of our life as we try to curate the warrior that we would like to be. And with that being said, that's why we're the Warrior Lab. We want you guys to take that imagery with you, that you are in the lab, you got your lab coat on and you're mixing things up, creating the warrior that you're capable of becoming. So episode 1, man, how you feeling?
I'm feeling great, Jacob. How about yourself?
Pretty good, man. I know you were putting in work today. Your normal life, man, like you put in work and it's not just something that you put out. I get to witness this firsthand, and I'm honestly pretty impressed that you pulled it all off. And I think this is also the importance of these conversations, because you make it look easy, but I know it's not easy, right? Like the amount of literal physical work that you put in, whether it's strength conditioning or you just left a rugby practice, or whether it's the way that you work with your clients or with your family. Again, it comes across, if we're living in this world of social media, it looks easy, and I know it's not, man.
It's not, Jacob. Absolutely.
So what is the motivating factor? What is the driver that allows you to put in that much effort and that much work?
Follow through with my word. If I say that I'm going to do something, no matter what, I'm going to follow through with it. And if that means that, I'm gonna sacrifice something that I believe at that moment it's more important, and so be it. So if I give my word, that's my anchor.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people, they give their word in one area and they're not even interested in trying to develop these other areas of themselves. So, I mean, like I said, you're giving your word to go do this rugby practice on the West Side. You're down in Orange County. Do you ever, like, what do you see value in, like, working on these different areas of yourself, or why not just like hone in on just one thing and like be just solely the best dad you can be and stay at home all the time? Why is it that you seek out these other areas?
So primarily, it comes down to seeking out challenge. I believe that in challenge there is growth. And even if it doesn't look that way in certain areas, when you add it up, it may reflect in other areas of your life. Yeah. Right? Our rugby practice or rugby game will benefit me in the long run. Yeah, maybe, on a physical realm of things, for sure. Right? Staying active, staying playful. But also in, this morning I woke up and I'm like, I'm not really feeling like doing this today. I don't really feel like driving all the way to Hermosa Beach and run for 2 hours on the beach and kill myself. So I was coming up with so many excuses why not do it. And I had to remind myself that 2 days prior, I gave him my word that I was going to be there. And so I muscled through it and I show up. And guess what? It was great 2 hours. Yeah. I met some great people. I made some great connections, and I'm so grateful that I muscled through it and showed up. So it's always that way? Maybe not. But you will never know if you don't show up.
So when you talk about giving your word and keeping your word, are you envisioning the person that you gave your word to, or are you envisioning yourself as the person that gave the word?
Envision myself. I definitely envision myself. I every time I sense that there is an immediate, how you say, reward, an immediate gratification.
Yeah.
I know that I'm in the wrong place. I know that I'm making the wrong decision. So that's my gauge on, okay, yeah, maybe this feels good right now, but I know that I will regret later.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that. And like for me, I'm very similar, I think, but in the sense that a lot of the times when I'm keeping my word, it's not because I want to necessarily. I'm just more concerned with what the other person is going to think of me. This other person's not going to like me as much. They're going to think that I'm a flake, which isn't the healthiest place to be in, because you end up doing these things and then feeling resentful about the thing, right? So you're not even going to it feeling good about the thing or the favor that you might be doing for somebody. Mm-hmm. You're feeling bad about it and you're unhappy. And it's just a lose-lose across the board.
Yeah. And I used to be in that place myself not too long ago, but this is the deal. Is the way you do one thing in life, and I'm quoting someone's quote, I don't know who said it, but it's the way you do everything. So if I know that I am not coming through with my word on one thing in my life, that could be the rugby practice, the rugby game this morning. I didn't even know these guys. Probably, if I decide not to go this morning, I will never see them. They didn't know who I was. I don't know who they were. Yeah. I was going to be a clean cut, but I would have created a momentum where I might find myself in another capacity in my life as a father, or as a husband, or as a coach, where I was not going to come through with my word. Yeah. And that's what I'm trying to avoid by actually coming through to my word. Not so much the expectation the other person that I told the other person put upon my word, upon myself, but more about myself not creating that trajectory.
Yeah. And I think oftentimes the reason why we don't follow through on our word is because we're in an emotional state and we're letting those feelings drive our actions. But as you continue to do things that maybe make you uncomfortable, or in where you're showing up, you end up building confidence about that deferred gratification, how you feel afterwards. And you know that feelings, you have a new relationship with feelings, and you start understanding that they're impermanent. They come and they go, right? So making decisions solely based off of how you're feeling in the moment doesn't have the best version of yourself's best interest in mind. It has this person right now who doesn't want to do a thing. It's trying to coddle them. It's trying to just, you know what I'm saying? So it's like over time, you start flexing that muscle. You start realizing, wow, like there's amazing feelings at the end of this. Let me just go and push through this and persevere, right?
And that muscles, and we've been in a conversation, Jacob, for a while, right? Of owning our word, of living in integrity. And although we, it's safe to say that muscles for us, it's a pretty well developed. It's still, still falls trap of that conversation, that inner conversation that try to talk us out of. And chances are there are going to be times where our will tank is not as full as has been at other times, where we're going to fall through of the trap. And, and that's going to be what it's going to be. It's going to be okay. We're going to judge ourselves. We're going to resent ourselves. We're going to regret. We're going to have some guilt. And those are all feelings that we need to embrace. And because are all feelings that tell us that we know that we can do better.
Yeah. And
we need to do better. So next time, on the next opportunity, we're going to show up as a better version of ourselves. Mm-hmm. And so, we got to give ourselves grace when we do fall short. However, we also got to embrace the feelings that come along with it, accept them, regulate them, and make sure that we do better next time.
Yeah, I mean, and as part of the series, like I really want to engage, the audience and people that are listening. So, this is a great opportunity to just ask yourself, like, in what area do you find yourself not keeping your word? If you have been in the fitness game for a while and every time you say you're going to work out, you go and you get that workout in, great, you're doing well in that bucket. Where are the other buckets that might need a little bit more attention, that you are falling back? You're letting your feelings get in the way of certain things. As part of this conversation, I think fundamentally at the root of it is this idea of living an examined life, that we need to back outside of ourselves, have a little bit of metacognition, imagine yourself watching yourself, and examine your actions, examine your behavior, and get curious in why you show up in one way over here, why you show up this way over there, and know that you have kind of the autonomy to make changes to that. And this is just a little point of like reflection, make a little note on that. I think a big part of what we're here is in doing that. And it doesn't make it any easier. It probably makes it harder because you're asking the questions, right? And like, for me, that was something that I was thinking about this morning. And I'm in this like just moment of like hard pushing, like this last whole week, I've been out of the house from like before 6 a.m. and not getting home till like after 8. Like it's been very long days. Even one of those nights I went and watched Laura do an open mic. So that was like until like 11. And it's just like gone all day. And it's not just like that I'm gone twiddling my thumbs. I'm gone trying to hold things down over here in Pasadena. All the while I have these new projects that are happening. So my mind is constantly thinking about these other things. So in this moment, this morning, I could have easily told myself or rationalized or justified not waking up and going in early today. Because the thing is, I had an early session with the client today, right? So I had to get in there early. So am I just going to go in straight into that and share that time? Although me and this client have become good friends and we have like really great conversations. I was super excited to always have that with him. But I knew that I would then be falling back on my word of dedicating at least 30 minutes to an hour to myself before any real interaction, right? So that means I had to get up early and go over to the space bar even earlier. And is that the right choice? I don't know. It's an examined choice though. It's a choice after thinking about the thing and not just getting in my feelings about it. Mm-hmm. And that's the point. It's like, we don't know if we're making the right choices. We just know that we're making a choice because we thought about the consequences. We thought about this decision, and then we're literally making a choice,
Yeah, no, I totally get that. And yes, at the end of the day, we are faced with choice, right? We wake up in the morning and right at the gate, the second we open our eyes, should I really do this today or should I not? And at the end of the day is if we know that whatever we intended to do, it's going to fill our cup, right? It's going to fill our cup. And the opportunity costs of doing it does not offset the benefit from doing where we intend to do in the first place. And then we know it's the right choice, right? So let me put you in perspective. If this morning we would have woke up, right, and say, I don't really want to do this because my significant other is going through some tough time and she could benefit from me being there and holding space for her, maybe that would have changed the perspective around you not wanting to go there. Mm-hmm. The opportunity costs of missing out on being next to your significant others would have been, and that, I don't know if that's the case for you or not, greater of the benefit that you would gather from those 30 minutes for yourself. Does that make sense?
Oh, definitely,
So
yeah.
so it's nothing is written in stone. Yes, we have commitments, we give a word to ourselves or others, so we're going to do something, but we also have to be very vigilant and aware of what's going on at any given time in our lives. That could change things, because this morning, yes, I gave my word of going and play rugby. But if one of my daughters was not going to feel good, that she needed me to take her to the hospital, I would have took priority over that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I think that's exactly it. That's the point. Like it's not always an easy thing, right? And those are very valid reasons, right? To reconsider maybe something you said you were going to do. But resistance shows up in very sneaky ways. You know what I mean? And that's the thing about the way that the mind works. If we just let it do its thing, kind of, and we just step out of its way, it's going to play some crazy tricks on us.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, and luckily you and I and other men that we surround ourselves with have enough awareness to recognize the intentions of the resistance. Right? Where is this resistance coming from? Yeah. Right? Now we still have, a choice to make there, but at least we have more awareness. A lot of men out there, unfortunately, don't have that awareness. They don't know how to distinguish a voice from another. Yeah. A type of resistance, objective, valid resistance from one that actually it's self-inflicted, self-created, so to speak.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely. Looking back on a short journey this far, where do you think your awareness came? Or do you recall kind of looking back to when you were less self-aware, or when that transitioned for you? Or
I don't have necessarily, set date and time of that shift took place in my life. You know what? Actually, I do. And it was right when I was going through my divorce with my ex-wife. I knew that I was totally detached from my art. That was the very first real self-awareness that I registered. The fact that I was totally detached from my art, and I needed to do something about it. Although my intentions were good, although I was a good person, I was a liked human being, I knew that I was not in alignment. I was not necessarily in alignment. I was detached from my feelings, from my emotions. So that's the first awareness I gathered. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say for myself, probably a similar transitioning time of leaving that first marriage was like, I gathered an immense amount of awareness growing up, like through high school and all that. But it was this external awareness. Like I would always sit there and I would figure people out. I would really try to understand how everyone else operates, right? And that's how you played the game, right? That's how you became this chameleon. That's how you got the girls when you weren't the most attractive, and you were maybe carrying a little extra weight, and you had good-looking older brother that was about the same age as you, right? That you had to get the tools that you needed to play that game and go to battle, right? And that was for me to look at other people, figure out how they're thinking, what they're thinking. I created a great amount of, I wouldn't say it was necessarily empathy, but whatever it is, I can't even think of what the word is, but like kids that are like, I just could really put myself in other people's minds. At least I thought I could, which I pretty sure I did, because I got away with a lot of stuff. So I got the things that I ultimately wanted by presenting myself in a way that I thought that this person wanted, right?
Yeah,
so
manipulation.
Yeah, there you go. So I had a lot of awareness around that, right? And it wasn't until similar, that I was leaving this relationship that I started to have self-awareness. I started finally asking the questions, why do I operate the way that I operate? I was always so concerned with the way that you operated, the way that why you do this way, why you do that way, so that I can either change that or fulfill that or whatever it was. And it really wasn't until then that I was like, oh, wow, like, why do you do that? Why do you need to do that? Why do you need to go seek that attention? What is it all about? And I think that's where it ultimately starts, is like asking questions and being curious about why we do the things that we do.
Yes.
So super impactful moment for me.
And, it sounds like we somehow share the same story around that. And, and truth to be told, Jacob, there are people that went through multiple divorces, and still that awareness is still in their blind spots.
Yeah.
And sometimes the question that I ask myself is, what differentiate us from them?
For me, I think it's just, having the belief that I can change myself, taking ownership, taking responsibility, to make those changes, I think. And then, like anything else, I think then building confidence around the fact that you can change yourself, right? You're not going to think that it's not going to be worth your time to be any kind of have any kind of self-awareness if you're not improving or reaping benefits of that, right? Mm-hmm. So I think, I don't know if we're all that different. I don't think we really are. I just think sometimes we just really turn a blind eye. We just don't, because it's not easy work. It's not easy to examine yourself like that.
So willingness is the key factor.
Willingness, ownership, self-accountability, self-responsibility. I think all of those things put pressure on yourself. All those things are hard work. All those things take effort. It's easy to point the finger and blame. It's easy to say that somebody else has the problem. It's really hard to acknowledge that you're the one with the problem. Mm-hmm. So, it's interesting. And I wonder if that's truly is the case, is that they don't have an awareness to it, or if they just don't want to go to dig into
work.
That.
Do the work.
Yeah. So, in an effort to kind of expand your own personal like self development, like what are some of the things that you do on a proactive basis? Obviously you said you seek discomfort. Are you actively like seeking knowledge, reading any books?
Yes. So definitely, it's kind of ironic for me because growing up, I hated books. I always shy away. My mom was a big reader. And I kind of always mocked her always made fun of her because of that. And until, like I say, 20 years ago, I was introduced to the conversation, and I started reading. And I believe there is a tremendous value in acquiring knowledge. So definitely, that's one of the pillars in my life: reading, researching, listening to podcasts, so on and so forth. Seeking challenges, like we talked about earlier, for sure. And three, just doing the right thing. Waking up in the morning with the sole objective of doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And I think those probably are the three main pillars that are sustaining me through this journey. And I'm sure there are others there I just can, put a label on, I can identify, but those three for sure.
Yeah. It's all very important. And, as we come to the end of this first episode, I think the key takeaways around this episode are going to be around a willingness to get uncomfortable, kind of an acknowledgement that you have the capabilities to change your current state, the need to look inward, start self-examining some of the things about yourself that you might not like, that you do like, figuring out what the common themes are there, and getting to work on it. Starting to maybe have some conversations with other fellas that might be like yourself, so that you understand that you're not alone, right? So that you have an output or a place to ask questions, to seek support. And that's something that we want to make ourselves available for. So at any time, if you have any questions, again, it's like, I'm not here to tell anybody how to live their life. I can share examples of how I choose to live my life based off of my own personal examination about the things that I've done that have been helpful, the things that I've done that haven't. Even in regards to some of the businesses, right? Like what are some of the choices that I've made that have been beneficial in business that haven't? Where are my downfalls and things I wish I could have done in past relationships? And what am I currently working on in my current relationship? The point is, I'm literally no different than anybody out there listening. I just might be more curious about myself than some others. And the only difference then that sets us apart is our levels of curiosity. And once you start asking questions, you're going to start being more curious, right? And starting to be able to examine your life a little bit more.
Yes, yes. And I know I want to conclude by saying, if when you decide to approach this conversation, make sure that you set intention clear with yourself, that you are doing this work for you and for you only, and not for anyone else in your life. Because otherwise, you're going to set yourself up for failure, right? Now, the validation around the work that you're doing, it's no longer inner, but outer. Now you're giving other people around you the power of validate you or invalidate you, or in the specific case, your work. So make sure that you're doing this work for yourself. This work will stay with you forever. Maybe the people around you, not so much. So make sure you're clear with that intention going into this conversation when you decide to approach it.
Yeah, and if you want to be a part of this conversation, we would love for that to be the case, right? Because we can only add so much support or input or share our own stories as much as you guys want to be a part of. So follow along, join us over at Warriorlab.coach. You can also subscribe to the YouTube channel, Spotify, Apple, wherever you prefer to listen to your podcasts. We would really love for you to turn on those alerts as we get a regular posting schedule. We'd like to stay on cadence with that, but you never know. We might sneak another episode in there. So that's why you got to turn on those alerts. And then if you want to reach out to me personally on my Instagram, Cub_Saldana, that's CUB_SALDANA. And Antonio?
For me, it's a strength philosopher. I'm not even going to bother spelling it out. So it's strength philosopher.
Google it. Again, I know some of these conversations might be new to you. They might just look and feel different as two guys are kind of here sharing openly. But again, if this is going to be resonating with you, and there's a good chance that you would feel it. And if you do feel it, we just ask for, a share. Maybe share this to somebody else in your life, or just share it on your Instagram story. As we start gaining some awareness around this conversation, we can't really do it without you. So we'd really appreciate that. Also, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, or whatever platform it is that you're listening to, so that others can find this, right? That's it. All right, guys. Until next time, we're out of here. See ya.
Take care.